Alrighty, so just arriving on our mat. I'm going to use this blanket to pad myself up. You're welcome to use a blanket or a beach towel. Something that we'll use at the end, if you have that beach towel or that blanket, we'll use that. Or having 2 blocks or 2 books handy is great. And we can always use that block at the end if you don't have that blanket or beach towel. I'll offer 2 different suggestions with that. So we'll go ahead and get started with our gentle flow today. I thought it would be nice to really just kind of work on some grounding as well as some immunity. It is, of course, on the forefront of all of our minds of building up our immunity. But this time of year, especially when my children were that age and were always heading back to school, it seemed like they were bringing in a lot of fun germs into the household. So just wanted to focus a little bit on building up that immunity, and through our practice, we'll work on that as well as the vitality and energy in the body, just through a nice smooth flow. So that said, let's go ahead and get comfortable into our seated position, whatever that looks like for you, whether you have legs crossed or extended out front. Just take a few moments to kind of shift the gift around, get yourself really situated onto your space. And when you're ready, roll the shoulders down the spine, feel that spine lengthening, close the eyes down, and place the hands onto the knees into a state of surrender with palms up. Coming into this space, putting down our to-do lists, putting down our expectations. Just finding that nice, long, deep breath. A few more moments listening to the body. Utilizing this time to quiet the mind, give that thinking mind a break and some space so we can just feel the sensations in the body. Together, let's take a nice deep inhale in. And then exhale, release and let it all go. Gentle the eyes open for a moment, place the hands down, and then we're going to draw the chin in towards chest. Keep the shoulders rolled away from the ears. And as if you had a marker on the end of your nose, just think about drawing this great big circle in front. So we're just bringing that chin down and drawing this big circle all the way around and back down. And as you make the circle a little bit bigger, you can even choose to bring the ear over towards the shoulder, or just continue to keep it front. And start to make that circle a little smaller. And then spiraling a little bit smaller. And then centering the head. Let's do that on the other side. So take that nose all the way around. We're just drawing this imaginary circle. I know it's kind of a funny image, but we're just bringing that head up and around and that chin down. Just a few more times on this side. Now make that circle a little smaller. Smaller still. And then come back into center. Taking the hands to the chest here, we're just going to take the fingertips and we're going to tap it along our thymus. So along the breastplate here on the outside of that sternum area. This is getting into our thymus, which our thymus is our, it's a lymph node that is activated when we tap into it. And when we activate it, it actually creates white blood cells, something that the body can always use extras of. So we're just tapping along the breastplate right here, right outside of the sternum. Let's return to your regular breath and take a few more moments just tapping into this area of the chest. This is always something that you can do any time of the day when you just find a few extra minutes. And a good suggestion is to have your kiddos, if you have kiddos at home or kiddos that you come in contact with, like neighbor kids, to have them do the same thing, because white blood cells are good for all of us. All right, taking the hands, we're just going to press the palms across the chest firmly, just thanking ourselves, showing ourselves gratitude for showing up today. And take a few of those deep breaths, feeling the breath against the palms. And lastly, I'm just going to take the hands and guide them up into the chin and flick away. So cautious if you have any hangnails or any sharp nails here. You don't really want to dig in. Just doing a little lymph massage. I'm just helping take any of that extra, anything that's clogged, taking it out, flicking it away. So taking the hands maybe right underneath the chin, or maybe over to the side by the ears. Just a few more times. Flicking out, releasing any clogged lymph nodes here. This is always nice to do in the evening, right before bed, if you're putting any moisturizer on, or just in general. 2 more times. Perfect. Now release the hands down onto the lap. Kind of feel that little bit of tingling of that energy that we brought into the body with the hands. Draw the ears up to the shoulders. Draw the shoulders up towards the ears. Roll them up nice and big, and then relax them down the back. Let's do that again. Roll the shoulders up. With an exhale, release them down the back. One more time, really dramatically, bringing those shoulders up and then release them down. Reversing that direction of that circle, bringing the shoulders around and through. Not sure why, but I always think this reminds me of like little monster arms, bringing them around and down. One more time, up and release down. Perfect. Right hand comes down onto the earth. Left hand is going to stretch and reach overhead. If you would like to deepen this a little bit, just bend that upper elbow and press it back here. We want to stay nice and tall so we're not collapsing down. And take a peek up towards that elbow in the sky. Breathing into side body. Press into that supporting hand on the earth and come on back up. And then we'll come to the other side and reach first with that with that right hand. And then if you'd like to deepen it and go back a little bit, bend into the elbow and peek up. Keeping those sit bones heavy on the earth. And that breath nice and fluid here. Release the palm, come back up to seated, taking the hands on top of the knees. Let's just find a few seated cat-cows. Starting to get that flexion in the spine. Rounding the chest forward and rolling back. And then slowly round all the way back up. And then we're going to place the soles of the feet down onto the earth. Knees are going to stay bent here. And just take a few moments to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Getting that blood flow back into the legs as well as opening up the hips. Coming back around to center and placing the soles of the feet down. Let's just take the arms out into a wide T. Hold for just a moment. And then bring the hands around. Create this little cave here. Tuck the chin in towards the chest. And round into upper back. Take a few moments to really feel that expansion in the back of the heart as you breathe deep. Peel the forehead away and back up. And then extend the legs. We're going to take them out into, it doesn't need to be a super wide V. It can just be out to the side, just creating this V shape. If you have any sensitivity in the knees, it might feel good to prop those blankets, that towel, or those blocks right underneath the knees here. Take a moment to kind of shift and get those cupcakes out of the way. And then we're going to bring the hands out front and plug them into the shoulder socket. I'm just going to start this little sway in front. So just to begin with, just kind of waving the hands back and forth from foot to foot. Right away, we feel that engagement in the abdominals. You should feel a good stretch in the legs as well. And we're going to start to make this a little bit bigger where we're tipping back. So we're starting to stir this energy, stir the pot as we come around. Arms are still extended out front, and the further back we tip, the more that we get that sensation in the abdominals. Should feel a pretty good stretch too in the legs. Giving the hips some love as well. Make sure that we're not holding any tension in the neck. Let's go around a few more times in this direction. And then bring the hands upright, turn the torso towards that extended leg on the right side and melt down here. Don't need to go super deep to get this good stretch. Take a few breaths. Press into the palms and raise back up. Fingertips come back up towards the ceiling and then melt down in the center here. Take a few breaths right here in our dragonfly pose. Right away, should be feeling this good stretch in the legs. Press into the palms and raise back up. Bring those shoulders back, or those arms, I should say, back to shoulder height. And then we'll just start to shift the direction. It's okay if you started in the other direction, but now I'm coming over towards that left side, and you can adjust if you started on the other side. It's absolutely fine. I'm just starting to find that sway, stirring the pot, coming around and through. And you'll notice the more that you come back, the more you feel those engagements in the abdominals and in the obliques. Hovering right here in front of that left leg, roll shoulders back, turn that torso so it's towards that extended left leg, and then melt the hands down, bringing the nose down towards the knee. Noticing the difference between the legs. Keeping the feet flexed and bright. Press into the palms, raise back up, and then let's just kiss the soles of the feet together, bringing them in front, knees out to the side. You can kind of flap those butterfly wings a few times. And then taking the hands to the tops of the feet, let's roll the shoulders down the back. So yogi's choice, we're going to fold forward. It's entirely up to you if you want to make this a passive stretch by allowing the rounding to happen in the back and the chin towards the chest. Or if you would like this more of an active stretch, keep that spine long and the crown of the head reaching towards the front. Just breathe deep here. Tuck the chin in towards the chest and slowly round all the way back up. Bring the hands to the outside of the thighs, the knees, and bring those knees together. Let's do that one more time where we come back into that T shape. And then we're going to tuck the chin in towards chest, round into this little cave here. And just feel the difference. If we can feel maybe that the back is feeling a little bit more awake, hopefully a little less stiff. Using the breath to breathe into that open space. Take your time to unwind and come back up. We'll come and meet into our tabletop position. You can use that blanket to pad up the knees if you would like. And if you have any problems with your wrists, any soreness in your wrists, you can always do that with your blanket or your mat, as well as you can roll it and give it a little bit of extra padding here. Another way to protect our wrists is to make sure that we are not just coming straight forward with the fingertips. We're widening that stance, or each fingertip we have some space between, and we turn the palms so that L shape is facing towards the front. So think about those biceps are turning towards the front of the mat, and then that way we're not collapsing too much into the wrists. Knees are stacked right underneath the hips. And let's just take a few times of just shifting that tailbone back and forth. Finding that space in the lower back and in the sacrum area. I'm going to come back into that neutral tabletop position, really press firmly into the palms and drop that tailbone back. Feel this engagement in this tabletop position with the belly button pulled in towards the spine, and the shoulders are really coming up, but we're not rounding just yet into our cat. Now starting at the tailbone, start to draw that tailbone in towards the rib cage, and then start to round in the upper back. Dip the chin in towards the chest, really feeling the entirety of the stretch here. And then starting again at the tailbone, start to bring that tailbone down, the belly down, chest widens and comes through. Tuck chin in towards chest, bring that belly button in. And as we round all the way up into this cat pose, start to shift the hips back. Bring the hips down towards the heels and come into a extended child's pose. Bend the elbows, start to press that chest through. Take your time articulating through the spine, coming back up into our cow pose. Should have a little arch in the back. Drop that belly down, get a little back bend. Tuck the chin in towards the chest, draw the belly button in, and draw that tailbone in. So we round, a little roly-poly. And at the peak of that cat, Start to bring those hips down and come into our child's pose again. Feel this nice stretch in the back body. I always like this too because I can feel a good stretch in my arms and my shoulders as well. Bend the elbows and very slowly start to shift that chest through. Come back up, straighten those elbows, and come into our cow pose. Tuck the chin in towards chest, so we're changing up here. We're bringing that chin in, that tailbone in, rounding here, and then tuck the toes underneath. And this time, instead of shifting back, bring those hip points up and find a downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet, bending generously into one knee and then the other. Finding stillness in our down dog. Bend the knees, shift forward, and then bring the knees back down onto the earth. One more time, we're gonna flow through that just once more. So untuck the toes, round into the back, find our cat pose. Press back, coming into child's pose. Bend the elbows, press into the palms, snake the chest through, and find our cow. Tuck chin in towards the chest, round into the upper back, round and reach here towards the sky with those shoulders. Tuck the toes underneath, peel the knees up off of the earth, and come into our downward facing dog. Lots of animals here. Take a moment to just press those heels down. They may not come all the way down to the earth, and that's just fine. Maybe just kind of wiggle out here, roll the head. Putting a bend into the knees, take a peek towards the front of the mat, and a couple steps all the way to the front. When we get to the front of the mat, let's meet in our forward fold. In our forward fold, we can put a bend into the knees. We never have to have these completely super straight. Allow the chest and the chest and the upper body to melt down. Might even feel good to take a hold of that opposite elbow into the opposite hand and find a little sway. No tension in the neck at all. That lower half of the body is working to really press into the earth and keep that tailbone up, and that way our upper part of our body can find that traction to release down. If you have the elbows clasped, go ahead and release them and start to slowly ragdoll, taking your time, maybe shifting side to side, coming all the way back up to standing. Inhale, bring the fingertips up high. Take a hold again of that opposite hand into that opposite elbow. We're going to reach over towards that left side, returning to center, and then reach and stretch to that opposite side. Returning back to center, release the clasp of the hands, cactus the arms out nice and wide. Inhale, fingertips come up. Exhale, swan dive all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift, flat back. Melt down, forward fold. Press into the feet, reverse that swan dive, come all the way back up. Take a hold of those elbows, tick-tock over to the right, back to center, and then over to the left. Back to center. Release the clasp of the arms, cactus the heart open here. But keep that belly button in towards the spine. Inhale, fingertips come up. Exhale, rain it all the way back down, forward fold. Let's do that one more time. Find that half lift, and then melt down. Bend the knees, reverse the swan dive, come all the way up. Take a hold of the elbows. Tick-tock over to the left side, back to center, and then over to the left side. Back to center, release that clasp. Cactus that chest, open the heart space here. Fingertips raise up, melt all the way back down, forward fold. Place the hands onto the earth and then step back into our downward facing dog. Lower the knees down to the earth. Walk the hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to we're going to come back here. So keep walking the hands back, and we're going to come into a kneeling position. Taking palms behind to the lower back, and fingertips are facing down. So we're going to find a little modified camel here, pressing firmly into the knees, rolling the shoulders back. Start to peel the chest up. So it's up to you how deep you want to go into this back bend. Make sure that you're not straining. And make sure that you're breathing. Release the hands from the lower back and then bring it back down into that tabletop position. Let's get a little bit of a stretch and opening into the chest a little bit here. We're going to take that left hand and bring it right behind the skull. So elbow point is out to the side. Draw the elbow in towards the center, actually towards that opposite elbow, the crease of the elbow, and then press back, open. Elbow comes in, chin comes in. Press open again. One more time. Bring it through. Press back, open that chest. Come back to center, release that palm, and instead of threading the needle, we're just going to thread the hand and place the palm down, right next to that hand that's onto the earth. Turn the chest and open here. Release the palm. Walk the palms one handprint forward, tuck the toes underneath, bring the hip points up. Downward facing dog. Bend the knees, peek forward, and take a little stroll all the way to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Halfway lift, flat back. Melt down, forward fold. Bend the knees, shift the weight all the way up, coming nice and tall. Cactus here, cactus the arms out open. And take them out into a nice wide T. Then draw the palms together, tuck the chin in towards the chest. Palms are forward. Draw the hands into heart center. Press the elbows out to the side. Inhale, gaze up as we bring the fingertips up. Cactus open nice and wide. Come back out to that T, out to the side. Then round the chin in towards chest. Bring the palms towards each other. Palms come together, back into heart center. Let's do that one more time. Palms raise up. Cactus open. Take the palms out into this wide T. Then draw palms forward, round and tuck the chin. And then hands come into heart center. Feel that flush of energy, close the eyes down, and really feel the feet grounded into the earth and the length of the spine here. Inhale, fingertips float back up. Swan dive all the way down, forward fold. Placing the hands onto the earth, step the feet back, downward facing dog. Shift forward and then lower the knees down to the earth. So we're going to walk the hands back and find our modified camel again. If you're feeling more well open, I will give you that offering as well. Another thing that's kind of nice is to take that block and place it between the knees. So that block or that book between the knees. It reminds the knees not to splay open. Palms come down, embracing that sacrum, that lower back area. Roll the shoulders open here. Press the chest up. Keep breathing. If you would like to bring the hands down towards the heels into a more traditional camel, then you're welcome to do that as well. But we're not quite as warmed up just yet. So it's entirely up to you. Center the body and release the palms down, coming into that tabletop position. Left hand stays down on the earth. Let's bring that right hand right behind the skull. Bring that elbow in towards the elbow, opposite elbow, and then press open. Shift down, elbow comes down, press back open. One more time, come in, open up. Now release that hand, walk it behind that stationary hand and press the hand down onto the earth. Take a few breaths here. Release the hand, bring it back underneath the shoulders. Then walk the hands, one handprint forward. Tuck those toes underneath and raise the hips back up, downward facing dog. Bend the knees and find a way to the front of the mat. Forward fold, halfway lift, and then melt back down. Bend the knees, sweep the hands all the way up. Grow tall here. Reach towards the sky. And then we're going to draw that right hand down towards the waistline, creating this like kind of embrace as if we're cradling something here. And that upper arm comes overhead. So now we have this ball and we're reaching into two different directions. So the upper hand is reaching over towards the right side. Reach, come back to center, reach again, come back to center. One more time, we're reaching into those opposite directions. Reach and come back to center. Release the hands down, pull the shoulders out. And then we'll do that on the opposite side. Starting with that reach above head, stretch, grow tall. And now that left hand is going to come along the waistline, and that right hand is going to reach over towards the left side. So we're holding this great big ball here. So stretch into the opposite direction, and then come back up to center. Then reach again, back to center. One more time, reach in its opposite directions, and then back to center. Fingertips come up, practice the heart open. Inhale, fingertips rise. Exhale, melt all the way back down, forward fold. Plant the hands onto the earth, step back, downward facing dog. Shift forward, and then lower the knees down onto the earth. We're going to draw that right leg back, raise it up to hip level, and then draw the knee in towards the center. Round for just a moment. Then step the foot to the front of the mat. This is a great time again to have those blocks handy if you'd like to frame the front foot. So thinking about that back foot, you can step it back just a little bit more. I don't want to shift so far forward that that knee is coming over the toe. I actually want to keep that knee stacked right above the ankle here. Still going to feel that good stretch and that good opening into the front hip flexor of that back leg. And also protecting the joints here by not shifting too far forward. Stay tall in the spine and take some nice deep breaths. And find a half split now. So start to shift those hips back towards the heels. Peel the toes up off of the earth of that front leg. You can stay tall and just get that same sensation, that same stretch that in the back of the leg. Or you can start to bring that back hip down towards the heel. Entirely up to you. Another way to increase the sensation is to start to fold the nose down towards the knee. Wherever you're at, make sure that you're not swaying too far to one side or the other. We want to keep those hips pretty square here. Take a few breaths. Now bend into that front knee, place the sole of the foot down. Place the hands down to frame the front foot. Tuck that back toe underneath, bring the knee up. And so with a lot of momentum, press that foot forward, and we meet at the front in a forward fold. Linking this together, halfway lift, melt down. Bend the knee, sweep all the way up, tall mountain. Right hand stays overhead and reaches as that left hand embraces right by the belly. Release to the other side. Draw this big circle all the way around. And then coming back up. Both palms reach and stretch. Cactus open. Inhale on the up. Exhale, float down. Forward fold. Place the hands onto the earth. Step back. Downward facing dog. Shift forward. Lower down to the knees. Left foot or right foot comes back. Raise it up to hip level. Draw it in towards the chest. Hover for a moment. Then step the foot all the way up to the front of the mat. Finding this lunge using blocks. Or you can even just let the hands hover right here by that thigh. Knees stay stacked over the ankle and shoulders roll down the back. Very slowly start to come back into that half split, peeling the toes up off of the earth, centering that hip so that it's not swaying to one side. Find the one that's working for you, whatever sensation you'd like, whether you want to lower down a little bit more with that hip, or if you want to lower the nose down towards the knee. Make sure that we're getting into the belly of really getting into the muscle here, not straining the tendons. And if it's not feeling right, just back up a little bit. Place the sole of the foot back down. Place the palms on the outside of each of the feet. Tuck back toe underneath. Raise the knee up and step forward. Both feet are forward and we into our forward fold. Half lift, flat back. Melt down. Bend the knees, press into the feet and shoot all the way up, tall mountain. Gentle palms into heart center. Roll the shoulders down the back. Now we're going to step open into a nice wide stance. So turn the toes so that they're facing the short edge of the mat. And we're just going to start to kind of gently rock a little bit from knee to knee, hip to hip. Don't have to go super deep or down low, just finding that flexibility and that range of motion in the side lunge a few times. And coming into some stillness, keeping the toes facing out to the outer edge of the mat. Take the hands to the top of the thighs and very slowly start to sink down into our goddess pose. Notice if the knees are starting to tract into the center. See if you can press them towards the pinky toe side of the mat. Draw the hands into the heart, roll the shoulders down. So we're going to find that detox breath here. So this is going to be our lion's breath, where we stick the tongue out, roll the eyes up, look silly, and breathe out nice and loud. Let's do this with some palm gesture. So we're going to find that dragon's, or that lion's breath, I should say, as we press the palms away. So draw the hands back in, sink down a little bit lower, and one more time. Draw the palms in, sink down a little bit lower, stick out that tongue, press those palms out. Hold for just a moment. Then flip the palms up, straighten the front legs, or straighten the legs, and turn the toes to the front of the mat, 5-point star. Stretch and reach in those opposite directions. Shoulders are not invited to the party, roll them down. And then release slowly into this wide-legged forward fold. Head is heavy here. Take a few breaths. letting any tension just waterfall off the back of the back, or waterfall off the back, off the neck, and drip away. Bring the hands to the top of the thighs, dip that tailbone down, and slowly rise all the way back up to standing. Zip the legs together and meet me at the front of the mat. Inhale, scoop the fingertips up. Cactus open. Inhale up. Exhale, melt all the way down, forward fold. Planting hands, step the feet back, downward facing dog. Left heel stays planted on the earth while that right heel raises up, three-legged dog. Stack the hips, bring that foot over towards the glute. Check in with the shoulders and make sure we're pressing firmly into both hands and we're staying square in the shoulders. Come back around to that three-legged dog. And then draw the knee in towards the chest, round into the upper back. Place that foot down onto the earth. We're going to find our standing lunge now. So take time to find that stability. If you need to widen that back foot by stepping out a little bit, that helps with the stance. Bring the hands all the way up. And then sink down, finding our standing lunge here. Take a few breaths. Now starting to straighten that front leg, bring the palms down. So now we're going to find that nice stretch, that half split kind of standing here. It's more like a pyramid pose. And you can keep the toes down or you can raise them up. Again, this is a great place for those props here. If you have the toes raised, lower them back down onto the earth. We're going to sweep back up into that lunge. Hands come to the hips. Walk that back foot to the front and come back up to the top. Notice the difference. You should feel a pretty good stretch now in that right hip, that right back of the leg compared to the left. Inhale, fingertips come up. Exhale, melt all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift, and then melt back down. Press into the feet, bend into the knees, sweep up nice and tall. Hands come into the heart center, step the feet out so they're nice and wide. Turn the toes to the short edge of the mat, heels towards each other. Sink down, bring the palms together. We're gonna find 3 of those lion's breaths here. So really bringing that tailbone down, the knees out towards the pinky toe side. Press away, press that bad energy away. Sink down. Start to straighten the legs, bring the hands up. Turn the toes to the wide edge of the mat. Roll shoulders down, find this 5-point star, reaching in those opposite directions, nice and tall. Slowly fold all the way down, coming back into that wide-legged forward fold. Notice where that weight is. If you're distributing the weight towards the ball of the foot, see if you can center it. Or you might even be pressing into the heels. See if you can center it there so that you really feel all 4 corners of the feet. Long, deep breathing. Take the hands to the top of the thighs. Dip that tailbone down, bend into the knees so you can round all the way back up to standing. Step the feet to the front of the mat. Let's go through that sequence one more time so we can get this left side all stretched out. Inhale, fingertips raise up. Exhale, melt all the way down, forward fold. Place the hands onto the earth, step back, downward facing dog. Right foot stays anchored down onto the earth while we raise that left heel up into our 3-legged dog. Let's go ahead and bring that foot over to the opposite glute, opening the hip here, stacking the hips here. Straighten the leg once more, three-legged dog. Draw the knee in towards the chest, round into the upper back. Hold and hover. Then step the foot all the way to the front of the mat. Might even need to give it a little hand there, and that's just fine. Very slowly raise all the way back up into that standing lunge now. Find the stance that's working for you. Sink down just a little bit more, keeping that knee, just like when we were kneeling, that knee is stacked right over the ankle. Lower the chest down, start to straighten that front leg. We can use blocks here if you would like, and if you would like to, you can start to bring those toes towards the face. Giving that hamstrings, the back of the leg some love. Place the foot back down, bend the knee, and come back up into that lunge. Hands come to the hips, step the back foot up to meet front foot. And now feel that balance between the two legs. Inhale, sweep the hands up. Exhale, melt the hands back down. So now we're going to find our standing camel, or a back bend here, by bringing the palms to right here on the sacrum so that fingertips are facing down. Roll the shoulders down and shine the chest up. Keep that belly button coming in towards the spine so that we can protect the lower back. Holding the posture, but not holding the breath. Stay here for just another moment. Centering the chest back. Sweep the fingertips up, and then cactus open one more time. Fingertips come up, melt all the way down, forward fold. Land the hands, step back, last down dog. Shift forward, and then come down to the knees. Swim those legs all the way around to the front. Bringing those legs out front. We're gonna find a twist here. Left foot comes in towards the extended right foot. You can keep it on this side, or you can step it over on the outside of the leg. Entirely up to you. I'm actually going to keep mine here today because I'm feeling a little stiff in the back. Raise the fingertips up, and then turn towards that bent knee. Taking a hold of the knee, you can embrace that leg with the crook of the elbow as that opposite arm comes behind. So instead of thinking about cranking into this twist, see how you can ease into it. Staying tall instead of hunching forward. Breathing deep. Release and come back around to center, and then straighten that opposite leg and draw that foot in towards the inside of the thigh, or you can even cross it over the top. Completely up to you. Raise the hands up high, and then hook the elbow around the knee and open into a twist here. Belly is resting against the thigh, which is really great for detoxing here too. Aiding in digestion. Just check in with that shoulder that's hooking onto the elbow, onto the knee. Make sure that that shoulder is not hiking up, but it's staying level with that back shoulder. Release slowly and come all the way back around to center. We're going to come on down to the back side. So take your time to come on down, draw the knees into the chest. Maybe find any gentle movement here of rocking or drawing circles on the ceiling. Placing the soles of the feet down onto the earth. And cross that right leg over the top and keep that foot nice and flexed, and it's just crossing right below that left knee. So this might be enough of a hip opener here, or if you would like, you can take a hold of the back of the leg and draw this figure four shape, this pigeon, in towards the body. So you intuitively know what feels good in the body. It might be just holding this pose, or it might be finding a little bit of movement. Maybe a little swaying, maybe adding the extension of that opposite leg. Just find what is working for you in this practice, in this time together. We're here for just a few more breaths. Use this time to see if you can open up that hip a little bit more. And if you have that leg extended on the left side, slowly lower it down onto the earth. Let's keep the cross of the leg here. We're going to find a figure four twist now. So bringing the hands out into a T or into that cactus shape, let's just shift the weight, or shift the hips, I should say, over towards that right side, and then allow that left foot to, or right foot to come down onto that left side. So we're twisting here. If the foot doesn't come all the way down to the earth, that is a great time to go ahead and put a block underneath it. See if we can keep the shoulders down onto the earth. And if it's okay with the neck, you can take a peek over that back shoulder. And this is such a good twist for the lower back, but it's also really good for the IT band. Press those palms back down so you can start to assist the body to come back around to center. Take your time to center the hips and unwind that foot from the top of the leg. And we're going to do that on the opposite side. So cross that thigh over, or cross that ankle over the top of that thigh on the opposite side. So you can take a moment here just to see, this just might be enough for the hips today. Or you can interlace the fingertips and take it behind that right thigh, drawing the shape in towards the body. And using these few moments to explore here to see if it's something that you want to continue to just hold, or if you would like to kind of find a little sway, or maybe an extension of that right leg. Just whatever feels good and feels like you're getting a good opening into the hip. Keep breathing. Keep exploring. Now releasing the hands from behind that thigh if you have it there, and release the foot down. We're going to find that figure four twist on the opposite side. So place the hands down onto the earth so we can shift the hips over to that left side of the mat. And then allow the feet to come over to the right side. So again, if that foot doesn't come down onto the earth, use a block right underneath it. Taking the hands out into a T shape, or a Y shape, or even bringing them above head. Long, deep breathing. Bring those palms down so that you can assist the body in pressing back up. Releasing the cross of the legs and centering the body back into the center of the mat. Let's bring those knees in once more towards the chest and reset spine. Now release the soles of the feet back down onto the earth. This is the point of the practice where we're going to use either that blanket or that beach blanket or that beach towel or that block. So we're going to find a supported bridge here. Whatever that prop that you have available, just press into the soles of the feet. Press the palms down and start to raise the sacrum up off of the earth. Slipping that block, blanket, or beach towel right underneath the sacrum. So we don't want any pinching. We want it not necessarily, we don't want it along the spine either. It's kind of in that little heart-shaped area that we have right above the glutes. It might take a few moments to kind of shift around. And if you are on a blanket or that beach towel and it feels like you're too high, then just take an extra roll out of that blanket. Center the body, move any ponytails or anything that's causing you discomfort out of the way. And then a couple more options here if we want to deepen this back bend. We can raise the palms above the head, and you can straighten the legs out down towards the base of the mat. If this is causing any tension in the body or any pinching, then just go ahead and bend those knees again. This might not be where you're at today, and that's just fine. Find exactly what's right for you. Spending this time restoring the body after all that exploration. If you have the legs straightened out long, let's go ahead and draw them back, bending the knees. We're going to straighten the legs now back up towards the ceiling. So finding this waterfall here where the toes are flexed towards the face as if we're stepping on the ceiling with the whole of a foot. Think of this as legs against the wall. Squeeze the legs together. And if you have a wall handy, that's always a great thing that you can just go ahead and prop those legs up against the wall. That's something I highly recommend finding time to do in your day. If you're seated a lot at your desk, a lot of times that lymphatic fluid can start to kind of pull up, kind of like collect down in the ankle area and in the feet. And this is a great way to start to drain that away from that lower half of the body. It's also really good because it reverses the blood flow and gives that heart a much needed break. So if you have found a wall to prop yourself up against, sit here for as long as you'd like. Or you can go ahead and jump onto that after the video, it's up to you. Let's go ahead and fold the knees after this time together. Let's place the soles of the feet down on the earth, raise the hip points up, and release whatever prop you have underneath. Find some time to just feel that just opening. Hopefully you feel a little bit more opening into the lower back. And we're going to spend some time just feeling all of that great work in the body in our Shavasana of your choice. The support of the earth underneath you and all the parts of your body, all the parts of your body that are touching the earth. Feel that breath nourishing the body. Bringing your energies back to this present moment. Start to find some movement, some rotation in wrists and ankles and fingertips and toes. And then expand the hands over the head, the toes down towards the bottom of the mat. Stretch and reach, 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 reach. And with an open mouth exhale, release, let it all go. And draw those knees up one more time. Rock over to the hip on one side. Pausing in this fetal position, taking just a moment here to reflect on something that you really felt great on in your practice today. Press firmly into that top hand so you can guide yourself back up to seated. Coming into seated once more. Draw that palms into heart center. And I want to thank you so much for joining me and sharing your practice and your time. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Namaste.